Pardon the interruption, but I'm Michael Wilbon. Tony, the Library of Congress is releasing 900 pages of Warren G. Harding of letters.
And Tony Kornheiser, clearly the G was for groupies.
Now, you and Warren, you hung out a little bit together back in the day, didn't you?
No, Warren was out of high school when I was just getting in. I mean, you know, he was a really good football player and all that. You know what the G actually stands for? Gamliel, something like that. It actually does.
Very good.
I'm a Warren G. Harding
Presidential scholars for 500, Alex.
There you go. Warren G. Harding. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. We will get to Carmelo's future and Brazil's chances without Neymar in a moment. But we begin today with the tantalizing possibility that LeBron James, the prodigal son, might return to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Man.
Yahoo is reporting that James's agent, Rich Paul, is pushing the return, and Mark Stein and Brian Windhorst are reporting that James is increasingly receptive. In related news, Chris Bosh is said to be seriously mulling a max offer from the Rockets.
Time to bail.
Well, on getting back to James, can you actually see this happening?
Not yet. Not so fast, Sparky.
Now, you know I've been on this for a year and a half.
I'm going to give some people credit.
Year and a half.
You, George Carl, and Avery Johnson, who said on this here air in a conversation with me, among others, a couple weeks ago, Cleveland, now.
Yeah,
not 4 years from now, not 3 years from now, right now. Tony, this would be a story that would just knock people over. Then this would be the biggest sports story of the summer if LeBron James, in this country anyway, if LeBron James goes back to Cleveland. I'm not ready to pronounce this. I am not ready to count out the tag team of Pat Riley and Mickey Arison. I understand that when you start flirting like this with your old love, that it could be very difficult when everybody around you is saying, let's go home. And that's what the reporting says, Tony. It's got to be seductive, and you've got good young players already in Kyrie Irving and Mr. Wiggins.
Yeah, well, Kyrie Irving's got to stay healthy, which he hasn't done.
That's right.
And Andrew Wiggins is...
He's got to play in the league.
Yeah, he's an hour out of high school, basically, and 1 year in college, and so you don't know. But speaking to that point specifically, that's young talent. LeBron James was done in by old talent at Miami. Dwayne Wade is not the Dwayne Wade that was the Dwayne Wade, okay? And if Chris Bosh is going to leave, they don't have anything here. The critical factor for me has always been this. If he left once, when he left Cleveland and went to Miami, if he left once, I think he would leave again because I think he's chasing championships. And maybe he doesn't find another place right now this year where he wants to chase a championship. Here are the good points if he goes to Cleveland. One, he stays in the East, which is the easier conference.
That's right.
Okay. And two, he goes home, and from a public relations standpoint, this is the best thing he could ever do.
Even for him.
Yes, it's the best.
So you mean
unless he leaves in a year.
You're not buying the new signings that Miami's made of Josh McRoberts and Danny Granger? You're not saying that tilts the field back toward Miami?
Danny Granger, 2 years at $4 million, something like that, and Josh McRoberts, they're fine. But I think if you go to a place where you say, where can I stay for a while? Because if you can't go back to Cleveland and then leave.
No, you can't go back there and stay till you win something.
And by the way, the owner will get down on his knees and grovel and bring it back.
Can you see him and Dan Gilbert patching it up?
Oh, sure.
And by the way, they took down that nasty thing they had on the website.
That's the easy letter. That's the easy.
Easy?
Because the owner will say...
They went after each other in public, Tone.
The owner will say, I was wrong. Right. Thank you for coming back.
You think it's going to happen?
I don't know, but I think it's always been a possibility that he would leave Miami.
You're rooting for this, though,
and then it's a question of where does he land.
But you're rooting for this.
No,
I'm not rooting like it.
I'm not rooting for it. No, but it would be great poetry. It would be.
It'd be an incredible story. LeBron's drama ain't the only thing we're hanging on here either. Carmelo Anthony is also said to be undecided. Frank Isola, writing for the New York Daily News, says Melo is torn between the Knicks, who have offered him the big money at $120 million, the Bulls, which appear to have the most attractive basketball situation for Melo to step into, and the Lakers, who have Kobe, Los Angeles, and remember Melo's wife is named Lala. So which of these destinations make more sense to you?
This is not even close. From a basketball standpoint, Chicago makes the most sense. Carmelo is a scorer. Chicago can't score. He gets to go there. He conveys as is. They don't ask him to do anything differently. I'm having a little difficulty with the Los Angeles part, and I understand that Los Angeles is a great destination.
Yeah, Kobe Gasol and the rookie.
Kobe Bryant is almost 40 years old.
A little younger than that.
Yeah, he's almost. And he's got 40-year-old mileage on his body. Okay. And Pau Gasol every Tuesday and Thursday for the last 3 years was being shipped out somewhere. So I don't really understand that. Now, if Carmelo wants to say, I'm going to take the money, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Take the money. Just don't ever say what?
All I want to do is win.
Okay, just take the money.
My primary concern is winning.
Just take the
Look,
money.
I've told you this. You know, as a lifelong Bulls fan, I want to see Carmelo Anthony go to Chicago because he does convey. Yeah. They don't have to do anything but stick him as is in the lineup because they don't even have people who can do what Carmelo Anthony can do. It's not like going to Miami where you have to defer and somebody's. No. You can be Melo with the Bulls, and he's not going there. He's not going there. He's going to take the money and stay in New York.
That's fine.
The incredible thing is, to me, he's going to cost himself like $1 million because he could have opted in and actually got more money and not had this.
If he wants to take the money,
in New York. You know he's going to stay in New York.
I think you have to look at his record for a while. He's a fine player. He's a great scorer.
He's a great offensive player, Tony.
He doesn't get past the first round of the playoffs most of the time. I think he's been in 10 times.
Around him.
Been in 10 times, moved on twice. You don't hear coaches screaming, "I've got to have him."
Well, Tibbs is.
Well, then he ought to listen. Because if he in fact wants to win, even without Derrick Rose, they become a championship contender right now.
And as you pointed out, especially in the East, which may have LeBron on the move to a team that can take some time to retool. Be the place, but that did.
The Oakland A's currently have the best record in all of baseball, and that's 55-33. And they just got substantially better when they traded for Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill from the Cubs. For years, we've thought of the A's as a cute team without a lot of money and not a real contender. Wilbon, does this put legitimate pressure on Billy Beane to stop running the little team that could and start being the team to beat?
No. Pressure in baseball is on the Yankees, and then it's on the Red Sox, and it's on the Dodgers.
They're not close to the A's in terms of record. Not close.
I don't care about pressure. No. The A's are still seen as a small market team that does what it can on a budget. And the Yankees don't have a budget. No. And there's some other teams that the Cubs at times barely have a budget.
That's right.
And so, no, the pressure's not on them. What this does is it gives them the kind of staff that says, we want to go into Detroit if we play the Tigers again and not be swept. Yeah. We can go in there and look Verlander and his boys eye to eye, and we can compete with them or anybody else in the American League. But it doesn't mean they're the favorite, and it doesn't put pressure on Billy Beane.
Verlander specifically said this is a deal aimed at the Tigers.
And he might be right.
Look, there are two reasons why we discount the A's over some long period of time, in the Billy Beane era, if you will. One is that they make the playoffs regularly, and they never make the World Series. Right. And the second reason is the mythology of Moneyball. First is a book by Michael Lewis, and then in the movie where Brad Pitt plays Billy Beane. And it's clear what's going on there. We have no money. This is the best we can do. You ought to be happy that we get this far. But they're 55-33. You know, nobody's paid attention on this show to baseball yet because of the NBA and the World Cup. And I get that. But if you look out there at the Giants and the A's, there's a couple of pretty really good teams.
The A's particularly.
And I think that the A's could be considered the team to beat, and I think they should be.
Maybe they will. Maybe there'll be a summer romance with the A's coming up. Now, look, Samardzija is a guy, and I'm happy for Jeff Samardzija.
Samardzija won his first game.
Who at 29 years old has been first of all, he's been on the National League All-Star team, except now he can't pitch for the National League. Here's a guy who was, I think, 5th or 6th in ERA in the National League. He now goes someplace where he doesn't have to be rumored to be traded every other hour. Talk about Pau Gasol. It's 5 days a week with Samardzija for the last 3 years.
Okay, the Cubs, he got no runs whatsoever.
None.
Run differential, best in baseball, I believe, 125 for Oakland. So they are right now the team to beat. They are.
All right. Let's look to England, Tony, where Novak Djokovic ruined a perfectly good storyline by beating Roger Federer in the Wimbledon men's final, the gentlemen's final. Took 5 sets. Federer didn't look like some old codger.
No, he didn't.
Even though he would have been the oldest man at 33 to win Wimbledon in the Open era. Fed came back from 5-2 down with match point against to win the 4th set of what almost everybody's calling an instant classic. So Federer is being praised lavishly in defeat. Has he really reached the sympathy stage in his career already?
1,000%. That's exactly where he is. This is like Derek Jeter. I think they used to do commercials together every once in a while. Derek Jeter gets
razor commercials.
Derek Jeter gets a couple of hits, and people say, "Oh, you're the captain. Don't retire. You can still do it." No, you can't. He can't do it because he's playing on fumes. Roger Federer is good enough to make all the semifinals.
He made a final.
And he made the final, and he played well, but he's not going to win them anymore.
Went further than Nadal, went further than your boy Andy Murray.
Yes, but he didn't win, did he?
No.
He's not.
5 sets.
I'm sorry, let me go back to the premise. Did he win? So people are happy that he got that far.
You know, Tony, you're right. It reminds us of, I don't know, whatever it is now, 7-8 years ago, when Pete Sampras got to this stage. The greats, all the greats, they get to this stage.
7 or 8 years ago. How about Jimmy Connors in 1991?
What, Jimmy Connors?
How about that when he was 39 years old?
And you know what happens? What you realize is this person, man or woman, has been so damn good.
That's right.
We're going to miss you.
That's right.
You helped us find interest and fascination at times in this sport.
And
now you are closer to the end than you are to the beginning.
He could have a run. He could have a run
year
like
or two.
Connors. Yeah, I mean, where you get to the semis or you light something up. What's lost in all this is Djokovic. This is interesting. Djokovic is 27 years old. He's won 7 of these majors. He's lost 7 finals. That's a pretty dominating record.
Be out there with
to be
Nadal.
in 14
could be out there.
finals by this
He's got
age.
some time.
Yeah.
I mean, it would seem like it's him and Nadal now. The big four has been cut down to the big 2 and Murray occasionally.
He could go by him.
Go by him? He's not going by Nadal.
He could, except on clay. He could. Brazil's great striker, Neymar, has been declared out for the rest of the World Cup due to a broken bone in his back, suffered in the quarterfinal against Colombia.
Watch that.
The Colombian defender who knocked Neymar to the ground, by the way, will not be punished. This World Cup has been more physical than most, which Americans like when they watch. Wilbon, is the World Cup now diminished with your boy Neymar out?
Of course it is. If you're talking about the best player on perhaps the best team in the world, a team that is easily the most aesthetically appealing, at least for me, to watch, and people who just come in to soccer on the big events, I want to watch Brazil.
Yeah.
And so I want to watch the best player on Brazil, who is the reason he's wearing number 10 on Brazil. Neymar's that guy. Yeah, any tournament is diminished when the best player on the best team goes out. I don't care what sport it is.
I am not sure that for the vast majority of the American audience, most of which, and I would include myself in them, we're just sort of enamored of the pageantry of the World Cup, and we think it's a really cool event. We wrap our arms around it. I don't think we really know everybody who's really good or who isn't.
If you see Neymar playing, you don't know that guy's different?
I understand, but I mean, if Brazil still has a chance to win, and if they win, this will be forgotten. I think if you're going to ask me, if you lose the best player from a team, is that team diminished? Sure, of course. In any sport like that. One of the things that's nice about this tournament, though, I think, is that they have allowed the physical contact. Because most of us, when we watch soccer, we think they're flopping, they're not getting touched. Why are they down on the ground? This was legit. He got kicked in the back. This was legit.
Yeah, it is. Look, with Silva being out and Neymar being out, you would think this is a decided advantage for Germany.
Are you going to bet against them?
No, because they haven't lost a international match at home since 1975. It's like Pelé, who, by the way, you know Pelé has no gray hairs. How does that work? Pelé, how old is Pelé?
Do you really want me to tell
72,
you? Want me to tell you how it really works?
72 years old, something like that. Pelé was probably still playing for Brazil the last time they lost at home. You going against Brazil?
It's in a bottle. You got 3 number 1 seeds in the thing and probably a number 2. Let's take a break.
We got to go Final Four.
Coming up,
Final Four reference.
The rarely seen bring in a new keeper just for penalty kicks move.
Pretty cool move.
Yeah.
Plus, another Josh Gordon incident and a Roy Hibbert trade rumor.
So you're thinking that his hair is natural?
I don't know.
Are you thinking that?
I'm not thinking anything. I'm just looking at it saying Pelé's a little old to have no gray.
Yeah.
The next big thing. The next new kid. The next overnight sensation. The next rookie. One to watch. The next Hall of Famer. The next intimidator. The next 6-time. The next king. Next. Who's next? Let's find out. Names are made here. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at New Hampshire. Saturday at 3 Eastern on ESPN2.
It's mail time, where our interns find 4 decent emails and then go back to clipping my toenails. And
Come
we'll
on,
get the
that's
first one.
nasty.
No, it isn't.
There's something on a Will and Grace episode.
Who deserves more credit for the Dutch win? Tim Krul for stopping the shots, or the coach for sticking him in there cold?
Look, you got to start with giving the coach some credit.
Onions, baby.
For taking out
Big
his
onions.
regular goalkeeper, saying, we got a guy who's going to specialize in stopping you people. And then Krul goes in there and twice guesses correctly on which way to dive, talking trash, goes out there and gets it done. But I'm going with the goalkeeper. I'm going with Krul, because you actually got to do it.
You know, the coach,
do it.
as a reward, is going to coach Man U next year, which is the number 1 job.
Not as a reward for this. He was already going to be the coach.
You know what? I think it took huge onions to make that move. I never imagined that you'd bring a substitute goalkeeper in there as a closer. I never imagined that.
We see specialists in hockey come in to score goals,
but not to defend.
Not to defend, no.
Way. If I had to do it on the basis of 100 points, I would give 55 to the goalie, because you have to do it.
You got to execute
actually do it.
No matter how great the plan is, you got to stop the ball.
It's a stunning move. You know, if it hadn't worked, the second goalie would not have gotten the blame. The coach would have gotten.
And by the way, then does Manchester U say, never mind?
You know, that I don't know.
Should the Cleveland Browns dump Josh Gordon?
No, they should not dump him. They should help him. He's addicted to something, even if it's only terrible, terrible judgment. And he needs help. And not only the Browns, but the NFL should be helping him. They should be putting him into some sort of rehabilitation situation. He was likely to miss maybe the whole year this year on a drug matter for the second time. He missed 2 games last year on a drug matter.
And 1,600 receiving yards anyway.
Still led the league.
Yeah.
So, you don't dump him.
No, the easy knee-jerk reaction now, Tony, is get rid of somebody. Like that's going to solve all the problems. It's not going to solve anything. You can show what a tough guy your team or your league is, and you don't help either, and you don't help him. I think there can be a zero-tolerance, tough-love approach from now on. Where you say, you have got to do this. You have no alternative. You're going to go to the following rehabilitation program or get out. We're going to support you through this, but you've got to go now.
But I honestly think that the league itself should be involved in that. I really do. The Sporting News says the Pacers are, quote, quietly shopping, unquote, Roy Hibbert. Too soon to give up on the big man?
Well, Tony, it's interesting. Indiana is so disappointed. Everybody's so disappointed in the way their season went. Even though they got to the conference finals, the way it just sort of went downhill after the first 10 games, when I think they were 10-0. And so Hibbert is the face of that. Hibbert is the guy who's going to take the fall.
Well, he stunk.
Well,
in many games, he was shut out.
Tony, he did. But I think there are ways you can have personnel that fit better around Roy Hibbert. And maybe you let Lance Stevenson go, who, as far as I know, teammates say, please get him out of here. So if you ask me if one has to go or the other, I'm keeping Roy Hibbert and getting rid of Lance Stevenson.
I'm going to go away from making it a 1-for-1. Okay. And I'm going to say that what is dependent here is what they get for Hibbert. If they get something great for Hibbert, then that ends this discussion.
Okay.
But I think you and I both feel that his complete and utter collapse in the playoffs was probably due to something off the court. And maybe with a teammate. Maybe. So I think that you try to sort that out first before you
decide whether you're going to deal him or not.
Yes.
There are not many teams anymore that use a guy like Roy Hibbert in the way that he's comfortable being used, Tony, right? Low post guy who wants the ball dumped into him.
Yeah,
basketball's gone away from that.
You got to score more than zero and rebound more than 0.
That's true. Was John Lackey out of line in his comments about Nelson Cruz?
No, he was not out of line. He got lit up the other day by the Orioles, and he got lit up by Cruz. Cruz had 5 hits off Boston pitching, 3 off Lackey, including a homer. And Lackey stepped up and he said what a lot of people feel, which is that these guys who went out on drug-related things got off light. And now they're being celebrated a little bit too much. So I don't think he was out of line, and I don't think it was out of line for Buck Showalter to then say, hey, take care of your own place.
Right. Be careful what you ask for.
Right, and don't worry about our place. But this is a big issue. A big issue that a lot of these guys appear to have gotten off light and now are tearing it up.
Well, it certainly seems to be a bigger issue to pitchers when they get lit up and after the fact. And these pitchers, they certainly have some inkling of what might be going on around them when their drug-addled guys, formerly so or allegedly so, are lighting up other pitchers.
That's right.
I'm not going to say it's out of line, but then you open yourself up for some ridicule, and that's fair, too.
I think the behavior on both sides was legitimate given the issue. Enough email, time for a break, but on the way, an investigation into the impact of 50 Cent's awful throw on his album sale.
Awful doesn't even begin to describe it. Plus, the captain gets a big hit, and this cyclist gets the cold shoulder.
Look at that.
Just turned away. They must have had some history.
Maybe he stunk.
No, I think they had some history.
Maybe.
We're going to find out somebody had gotten a gift bag.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Earlier in the year, maybe.
Programming note, kids. PTI will air on ESPN2 tomorrow at the regular time of 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
Deuce!
We expect you to be there. Happy 39th birthday yesterday, 50 Cent. Remember how terrible his first pitch was at Citi Field? At the time, some suggested that Curtis Jackson deliberately threw such a stink bomb in order to gin up publicity and sales for his soon-to-be-released album. Well, the first week's sales are in, and Mr. Cent sold a career-low 46,000 units, and that stinks even worse than that pitch.
No, but this gives video credence to the notion that the brothers ain't playing baseball like we used to. That pitch, are you kidding me?
Happy anniversary, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And this day 4 years ago, you went on live TV.
Yeah!
You told some generic talking head that you intended to both play for the Miami Heat. This preceded by one day LeBron James' decision to play with you. 4 finals and 2 championships in 4 years, and now the possibility of breaking up the old gang.
You think they got one more run in them, Tony? You think this is it? Is it over?
Well, if any of them leaves, it's over.
One of them particularly.
Happy trails to this attempt at a Tour de France smooch. The winner of yesterday's stage, Italian Vincenzo Nibali, was denied in his attempt at a second kiss after receiving the yellow jersey.
Should've gone to that Listerine.
The woman to the left complied, but the woman to the right, perhaps smelling him after hours of sweating, turned away and presented him with a stuffed animal instead. Let this be a lesson to you boys and girls. Freshen up.
I'm telling you, if I could do an investigation, it would reveal that there's history.
You think so?
Between the two.
But you believe that about everybody. You do. Trying to find out we messed up, reality.
You guys were all over the place with ages. Kobe turns 36, Federer 33 next month. Smarja was 11th in ERA in the league in the NL when he left. Pacers started 9-0. And the Dutch keeper Krul guessed right all 4 times he was trying to make a save. Made 2 saves, but guessed right all 4.
Big finish quickly. Boris Diaw rejoined the Spurs for 3 years and $22 million. You surprised he didn't get a better offer?
$7 million a year, and they're playing a system that fits him. It's a good offer. Yankees designated Alfonso Soriano for assignment. He's done, isn't he?
Done with the Yankees, and he's 38. Might be done with everybody. Derek Jeter got his 3,400th hit last night. Is that a big deal?
Yeah. Last player to report a 3,400th hit. Yastrzemski in 1983. Clippers have agreed to deals with Spencer Hawes, Jordan Farmar, big pickups.
Where they need it on the bench. These are very good pickups, actually.
Yep.
Last one, Adam Wainwright leads the majors in the ERA. Will he shut down the Pirates tonight?
I don't know about that, but Wainwright's 189, just a little off of Kershaw's 185. He's got 36 consecutive scoreless. That's pretty impressive.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm playing pretty well on here. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow on The Deuce, knuckleheads. Check out the podcast on iTunes. Let's go back to headquarters.
You have a shout out? Thought you did.
Oh, yeah. Lee Wallen at Boca. It's great.
The next big thing. The next new kid. The next overnight sensation. The next rookie. One to watch. The next Hall of Famer. The next intimidator. The next 6-time. The next king. Next. Who's next? Let's find out. Names are made here. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at New Hampshire. Saturday at 3 Eastern on ESPN2.